Good afternoon, all. On behalf of Chennai Institute Technology Business Incubation Forum, so I welcome you all for today's webinar, which is a panel discussion. So it's an immense pleasure to welcome you all the audiences, whoever may be a student or startup, so in other categories. So I welcome for our today's webinar session. Just a second, I think I'm getting some noise.
bro நான் லைவ் வெபினார்ல இருக்கேன், நீங்க என்ன
Surender? One second. கேட்கலையா? வந்துட்டு இருக்கு. Just wait for a few minutes. Okay, sorry, there is some distractions. We have seen a different type of webinars. So so everyone is crossing under the pandemic here. So we can say 2.0, maybe a 3.0. So everyone is looking, begin to get productivity. So now the big challenge is getting towards into a business for early stage startups. So the major scenarios nowadays, the students are getting involved with the startup, and most of the students, we can say 25% of starters are involved as early stage startup, and we can say around 20% are sustain their business whenever they're during the college days. From third year onwards, they're starting their career as an entrepreneur. After that, they're sustaining their business also. So under that, we have different type of panel members who started their business while they're studying their graduation, most of them whom we are going to see today. So the 4 members are from currently pursuing as a student under third year, which is under engineering stream. I think we don't have more time, so I will start with Yuvaresh, the techie, Fun Tech. So the student startup, which is incubated by CITPF. So kindly provide intro from your side, Yuvaresh.
Yeah, hello all, good morning. So I hope it's audible for you all. My name is Yuvaresh. I'm pursuing third year mechanical in Chennai Institute of Technology. So actually, Fluent Tech, it's a startup based on implant manufacturing of 3D printing filaments. So it's a huge setup of manufacturing 3D printing filaments. So the main reason behind the start is because of its demand, especially because we see nowadays filaments of more cost, especially. So our main demand of making into this Fluent Tech is just to reduce the cost. So we have found ways to reduce the cost of these filaments. Thus, we got into this field of manufacturing. So this is approximately of 50 lakhs. Funded project by investors. So a huge plant is being set up in Sipcot, Tirunelveli, under my ownership only, 100% ownership. So it's being set up and it will be opened by the month of July now. So it's a year and base project for 1.5 years from now. So everything is going by plan now. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Yuvaresh. Then Darshini, from your side. Sorry, once again. Yuvaresh, kindly mute from your side, please.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah. This is Darshini from Quanta Trilok. I'm a third year biotechnology student. And Quanta Trilok was started mainly for the development of biosensors that can detect various forms of pathogens like virus and bacteria in early state and in a cost-effective manner. The main reason that I set up this Quanta Trilok is to create a self-identity and to be self-dependent. Earlier detection of virus and bacteria in human body is really important to help save lives from death. The viruses that are fatal and more deadly can be cured only if early detection is made possible. So that is what the QuantaThrill look does. It creates biosensors for various forms of pathogens.
Yeah, fine, great. Then Harish, from your side, the Harish Blackbuck. Yeah.
Good afternoon to one and all present. First of all, I would like to thank Chennai Institute of Technology Business Incubation Cell and its CEO, Mr. Pragati sir, for providing me this opportunity to present my views on student entrepreneurship. So, I am Harish Kumar, founder of Blackbuck, and I'm currently pursuing my third year of my bachelor's degree. So, we at Blackbuck are trying to create a platform for people who are willing to revert back to the traditional methods of living and producers who are able to produce high quality service for people in traditional way. For instance, I can say if you're willing to use cold pressed oil instead of packaged oil, we'll be able to find you the best producer of cold pressed oil with all the proofs and medical certifications along with that, which will be very helpful for people who are willing to get that service.
It's fine. Then next one, Surender from Techigen India. So about your startup and about yourself, yeah. Surender. It's from Surender. Getting my voice? I think he's facing some issues, technical issues. Surender? Just a few minutes. Surender?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Quick about you.
So, hey guys, I'm Surender, founder of Techigen, and I thank CITBF for this opportunity to get my points and ideas out of the world. So, before getting started, we all know the situation we are facing right now. So, if you have the option to stay home, please stay home and wear mask and practice social distancing if at all possible. So, we at Techigen actually tackle two important problems that the education system right now faces. So, first one is online learning. There's too many choice and less self-control. A recent survey states that there's a course completion rate of around less than 5% in Coursera and Udemy. So the more you sign up for these courses, the less you complete. And that's why, because the online courses simply lack curation. And the second one is 85% of HRs don't find the right talent they need right now. So what the companies do is that they start their own universities, like how Google and Zoho did it. So that's when Techigen comes to the rescue. We have a balanced mix of curated online learning content with one-on-one personalized mentorship. So we are proud to announce that Techigen is the world's first meme-based online learning platform. Right now, we have 10 plus courses in our website, so that if you want to enroll, you can go to the website and you can enroll if you want. So last September, we started with around 100 users as a WhatsApp group, and now we have around 15,000 students from around 300 colleges all over India. That's it for an introduction about Techigen.
Yeah, so fine, great. So I thank everyone for being here. See what kind of issues we are facing now, right? And the same thing for every startup, there will be a lot of hurdles will be there. So what Surender faced now, we can say as an example. So like we have to cross across that, and we have to update the success. So right, then I start with Surender. We have a few questions for everyone. So which is a panel discussion. So what makes you to become an entrepreneur? Like what are the capabilities or skills required? So if you got anything inspired or like anything inspires you to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I'll simply start with the question. So, what do you prefer actually? Building your own dreams or getting hired by someone who wants to build them theirs? So, whether you're a fresher or a professional who has worked for different companies for the past years, the thought of starting a business on your own and becoming an entrepreneur may have first have monopolized your mind at some point in your life. So, the best thing about becoming an entrepreneur is that you can start whenever you want, generate employment opportunities to the community you serve, and then be your own boss. I mean, forever. So, however, it's not all roses. Being an entrepreneur means an investment of time, money, and there's risk involved in every step that you take. While there is no guaranteed success, there is a great deal of learning as you gain knowledge by handling every aspect of running a business. So, being an entrepreneur means having an idea and setting up a business based on it. So, once you have a business idea, an entrepreneur has to take many activities to transform it into reality, starting from market research to study your competitors if you have any, and then identifying your target audience to recruitment of professionals and your team members, and taking care of the financial aspect like a balance sheet and cash flow, cash and cash flow, etc., and administrating the entire work. So there are multiple stages involved in setting up a new ventures. So in recent years, there has been a surge in number of people turning into entrepreneurship to bring their ideas into life. So many colleges and universities are also encouraging such people by launching courses in entrepreneurship, business, branding, marketing, etc. So students are actually way behind the real potential. The current skill acquisition path, that is higher education, just can't keep up. So we are individually very rarely adapted to the current pace of the changing world. So if you take the skill relevance curve, the skill which you learn today may not be valid the next 5 to 10 years. So how to keep up in this transition is that curiosity, entrepreneurship, and self-learning. These three things are the only thing which can help you in this transition. So if you take the current higher education system, it takes around 2 to 3 years to adapt a new technology. For example, right now we have blockchain and data science. To adapt these courses in our curriculum, it takes around 5 years. So in an economic point of view, going to college is important. Moreover, industry are looking for T-shaped players. What is T-shaped players is that, for example, if you're a guy from mechanical engineering, what companies are looking is that you must have an basic knowledge in computer science, civil, and electronics. So you must know the basic on all these parts, and you must have an in-depth knowledge in one thing. So that is what makes you a better entrepreneur. So after that, I'll tell you the 5 pillars of entrepreneurship, so that if you want to start entrepreneur, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you must know these 5 things. So marketing, sales, operations, management, and leadership. So you must learn these 5 things before you get into entrepreneurship. That's why, because 90% of entrepreneurs, first-time entrepreneurs, fail in their first venture. So that if you have a basic understanding in these 5 sectors, you can have a better ability to perform in the market than others do.
So fine, great. So like from your point of view, like you are a third-year student, so like you come out of the box. So like scope of entrepreneurship for a non-graduate students. So what's your review?
Yeah, actually, there is no better time to start a startup than during college. A lot of the startup founders I have met that I interacted startup in college. So I strongly believe that starting a company is the best time to do so in the college. Starting up, doesn't mean just starting a business. It can be about you. You can build your key skills like digital marketing, web development, app development, etc. So you are in college now. College is the best time in your life. It is where you meet an array of people with different beliefs, behaviors, and perspectives. That is why you learn and see different things, and you can be a different you. So there's 2 different important aspects of starting up. That is, you must have passion and ocean full of perseverance. Start doing something that you're passionate about and ignite yourself to be the better version of yourself. College days are the best days to experiment so that you work, succeed, and can also fail. That's not an issue actually. Starting early gives an advantage over other people who don't. You have the first look of a large market to capture. You will have a head start. Your classmates will be you'll be the ones studying and writing entrance exam while you'll be busy hiring graduates.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any strategy to bring student out of the box?
Yeah, actually, starting early gives an advantage of people who don't, and you will have a mountain of people around you. So tap into your acquaintances, friends, and you'll find whatever questions you have answered, and you actually will have a head start. This will help you understand the realities of a startup ecosystem, and there's still a few things you must consider before starting up. You must have an entrepreneurial mindset, so you must get involved into many community projects, and you must get many ideas and test it with your target audience. So don't drop out until you are a millionaire. So you can probably start a business on your site, and you can also work on study book.
Okay, fine. So then, questions for Darshini. So, what about your views in regards to women entrepreneurs? So, what are the opportunities available for women entrepreneurs? So, like, are you getting the supports comparable to men in the society?
Yes, sir. When compared to olden days, now women entrepreneurship is becoming huge success. Special schemes from government side like Mahila Dayanati, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Startup India. These are the schemes that have been funded by government to develop women entrepreneurship. And in women entrepreneurship, a lot of safety for the youth can be given to the girl workers. So the youth are completely loaded with energy. Exploitation of those energy and knowledge can be done through women entrepreneurship and providing safety for their work.
Okay, fine. So, like, you are into research and development, so like into biotech sector. So, like, what about your views in regards to role of R&D, right, in the entrepreneur life cycle?
Research and development cell is irreplaceable for any kind of company, and in biotechnology company, a research and development and a biotech company goes hand in hand. It is not a different thing. Let's say Bharat Biotech or Pfizer, they identify the society problems and get a solution to it. So R&D sectors, it goes same with all the biotech companies. It goes hand in hand, and this biotech company is all about researching the societal problem and finding a solution to overcome the problem. So R&D is all about biotechnology.
Fine. So, is traditional college education is better enough to validate any kind of new ideas or into new product developments or bringing out the new startups? So, like, how does the incubation center creates an impact?
Academic institutions are doing a wonderful job in creating EDC cell, EEE cell in their institution to promote this entrepreneurship. They conduct occasional webinars and guest lectures, seminars. Group discussion between the startup members can help in solving some problems. So, but academic institutions must also have some tie-up with the industrial sectors and give internship to students, so that they can have some industrial exposure during the course of their graduation, which will help them to become an entrepreneur and think in an industrialist point of view. Incubation centers are helping guiding us in approaching a bank, taking loans, and they are providing the workspace for incubations.
Okay, fine. So then I'm going to Arish. Arish, like, you are into e-com solutions, right? So, like, with big companies like Amazon, Flipkart, whoever maybe. So, like, how does the market treats for newcomers? Like, how the new like early stage startup can compete with them and also to sustain in the market?
That's a wonderful question. So I think it would be better if we go through the case study of how Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, beat his rivalry eBay to become Chinese supergiant in e-commerce. So that case study will help us know a lot more about this. So back in 2004, when China opened its market for e-commerce segment, already evolved players like Amazon and eBay are ready to set up expand themselves into China. And on the other hand, we have Jack Ma, who is also early stage startup, who is also ready to move into e-commerce sector. So eBay did its survey on what are the problems and what it can do for the Chinese people. So eBay found 3 problems. One is that the goods sold in the Chinese market were cheap. They didn't have any warranty or guarantee to it, and mostly the website in Chinese website were clumsy and it had no ordering. So eBay created a beautiful website, elegant one, which sold high quality products with higher pricing rate. On the other hand, Jack Ma designed a website where it was completely opposite that of eBay, where it was clumsy. All the goods it sold was cheap in price. It didn't have any warranty or guarantee, and more importantly, Jack Ma's, if you have to buy any product from Alibaba, you have to negotiate it through a chat window they created. So with all of this, finally, people preferred Alibaba over eBay, and Alibaba could easily defeat eBay in the race of e-commerce segment. So the reason behind this is that Chinese people at that time couldn't afford high quality prices, and they weren't interested in warranties or guarantees for their products. And more importantly, the two factors of how Alibaba placed the website, they made it clumsy, and the factor of negotiation growth played a very big factor of relatability for Chinese people. They could easily relate it to how they normally buy in an offline market. Everyone used to negotiate for the product, so it was easy for them to understand how e-commerce could work, and it was more easy for them to adapt into e-commerce segment. So from this point, from this case study, we can understand that it is not only the problem that we have to focus on the desire of the target audience and the relatability of the target audience. These two factors will mainly has a major impact on how your startup is going to scale. So if you are in the process of early stage startup or in the process of ideation, you have to make sure that you keep these points into the mind. Of course, you have to solve a problem, and you have to make sure your problem is relatable to your solution is relatable to your target audience, and make sure whether that solution is desired for the your target audience or not. So making sure these points, it will be easy for any startup who is coming into the market to get into the marketplace.
Okay. So why system background graduates? So like the system background, like in terms of EASY or EEE or CAC or IT, everyone having the skills. Like the skilled graduates are dependent on MNC placement only. So like what are the factors lagging behind to not to become self-dependent in e-com services? So if you take a pandemic, there are a lot of sectors. Maybe people are saying that we don't have business for the pandemic situation, but if you see customer segments are obtained most of the e-com sectors only. If you take example of groceries and pharma, so everyone retain the customer through app only. So like what are the factors lagging behind those graduates to not to become self-dependent?
So firstly, I would say there are two major factors for students not taking up entrepreneurship as a career opportunity. The first one is lack of knowledge. Be it from your family side or from your educational side. For instance, from your family, most of your relatives will be placed in IT company during the IT boom in early 2000s. So they weren't much exposed to this field of entrepreneurship in that time also. So if, the knowledge of entrepreneurship, you cannot get it from your family. And from the colleges you study, most of the colleges are have the pressure to show results each and every year. So they focus only on the placements, and entrepreneurship is not even given a choice to the student. Likewise, the second factor is the lack of support. Again, since the family members are not exposed to the field of entrepreneurship, they only focus on the risk factor of being an entrepreneur, but they do not focus on the good long-term benefits of being an entrepreneur. So the support from the family is also not there. And again, from college side, since entrepreneurship is not given a choice from starting itself, any infrastructure requirements or any support which would be required for an idea to come into market, that is not being given by the colleges, mostly India. So even if a student has good idea, it is becoming difficult for him to get it into the market and move his product into the market. So while talking about this pandemic situation now, it is again, as said by sir, e-commerce has become is a very need of the day now, because everything you have to move your goods and you have to sell it through e-commerce website or mobile apps such only. So it is a great opportunity for any entrepreneur who is trying to start an e-commerce. It is now is the best time, because as basically an entrepreneur is one who solves the real world problem, and in difficult times such as this pandemic, it is the problems of people are become increasing, so the scope of an entrepreneur is increased. So anyone who's trying to start an e-commerce business, it is the best time to start. And I would like to mention a quote here, which more or less defines every entrepreneur out that. It goes by, a pessimist can find opportunities in every difficulty. An optimist can find opportunity in every difficulty, and a pessimist will find only difficulty in every opportunity. So we have to be the optimist here, the entrepreneur, to find opportunity in every difficulty.
Fine. So, Yuresh, like you are into mechanical engineering field, like what are the startup scope in mechanical industry with aspect to this pandemic?
So likewise, personally, I'm doing mechanical engineering personally. Me, so I feel machine development has been a much needed field in terms of mechanical engineering, because machine development is something India is lacking so badly at the moment. So especially make in India products are which are in much demand at the moment. Machine development, I feel, for me personally as a mechanical engineer, I feel we are lacking as a country as a whole. So as per my suggestion, I would like to think machine development is a place where it can be replaced and it can brought a change as personally in our country, not just because of this pandemic. Thus, this pandemic lies on one side. In other sides, we need development in terms of economy. So this machine development, not only in terms of developing some particular manufacturing substances, but also in developing some particular elements like oxygen tank cylinders. These cylinders are done by extracting machine or indulging machine, where these machines are only found in Germany and Japan. So we are importing so many machines. So I feel machine development is a field which we are need to. It's a need of the hour now. So it's one of the field I feel like personally being a mechanical engineer needs a change. Second, if you can ask me, I can go for 3D printing. 3D printing is a huge demand at the market, and it's a growing market. I think, in personally for me, 10 years from now, we'll be like seeing homes, almost 90% of the homes being 3D printed. So it's a changing technology. Everything is changing so badly at the moment. So as per my evaluation, 3D printing is a growing technology. So it's a based background of mine also. My startup is based on 3D printing, and it's I have seen the evaluation for the last 4 years particularly. So seeing the growth of the technology, I feel 3D printing is a growing technology. So thus 3D printing can be the next scope for mechanical engineers. And for the last, I can say supply chain management. So if you can see, there are companies in core. If you see some OEM companies of a whole, they are of development. Whole demand as one. So not all companies has the whole chain process ready. Only if you can see, I can mention in one hand, especially only 5 companies in India. I can say you of development of OEMs, Tata, Hero. These are the companies which are of high OEMs. So supply chain management has been a huge demand in Indian market at the moment, because production chain is good, but the end product is not good enough to manufacture or to bring the output. So supply chain management as a mechanical engineer, it can be solved easier, because mechanical engineer has a huge role to play in, especially in the product development and the production substance. So I feel these three parts can be good enough. So I personally feel more and more a mechanical engineers can be filled in this field, and huge business growth opportunities can be developed.
Okay. The other thing, how can the student startup will be able to manage a risk factor? So risk factor in terms of seed investment.
Personally, me getting a seed investment, that's a good point, good question, to be honest. You asked me. So I feel there for everything there are advantages and disadvantages. So in terms of this also, seed investment is also known as equity funding. But people will not say equity funding to you while coming and asking for investment, because they know equity means share. So this it's like I'll give you money for a share. So people will not maximum if they will not say equity funding, but the another meaning for that is equity funding. If they say seed investment, it's easy to hear. So people might be approaching you more easier. So seed investment has been a huge evolvement from last 10 years also. So personally, me getting a seed investment, I feel there are pros and cons here. So if I see the pros along, the great points or great advantages here, it's the one point I looked at personally is the investor. So the investor must be of some kind of useful to you. I cannot go simply just because he's giving me money. I simply can't go closing my eyes and believing in him for his percentage of share. So me, I'll be saying I would take the demanding company. The first thing you have to be assurity while taking seed funding is you have to be sure of your percentages. So if he's giving you particular type of money, you should be like having the majority. You should not lose a majority of the company. So if for example, if you take 70% and giving 30% for an investment of for around 20 lakhs for the investor, he should be having some particular skill to develop you also. Like personally, you can be strong in your field, but he should be having some particular skill like marketing. So whenever your company goes down, you should be giving that hand for you to develop your in terms of company. So in that type of field, seed funding for an investor is highly important also in some factors. But there are some disadvantages because not all seed investments are good. Some demand less money. For example, a seed investment of 1 lakh and 2 lakh might spoil your business also sometimes, because at that time your whole business investment will be around only 5 lakhs. But in which you reach the investment of to the investor of around at least even 5 lakhs of the whole, he will ask for the majority of the stake, which will almost spoil your business. So if as soon as you give the share to the maximum to the investor, your business obviously has a low rating. So this plays a huge role, especially in terms of seed investment and both advantages and disadvantages.
Okay, so how the incubation center facilitates funding for the student startups?
That's a good one. That's a good question too, sir. Because initially I got the funding from you, so I feel government funding is the only factor for getting seed fundings via incubation startup. We can get very easily government fundings. So I got from you IVP, Innovation Voucher Program, through Chennai Institute of Technology Forum. I got 2 lakhs of Innovation Voucher Program, and I also got to know different government programs, TNSI. So being in incubation helps you not just develop your startup, but in terms of seed investment also. You get to meet new investors. I personally met 3 investors after joining Chennai Institute of Technology Forum, so business forum. Then I got into 2 to 3 government forums also in terms of getting seed investment. So I feel if you want to get a good investment of a particular fund, you have to be incubated somewhere. I feel that that gives an extra advantage of getting your investment you need. So I feel while being in incubation, maximum support you might get from government, because the government fundings need you to be particularly staying in a particular incubation to get funded. So I feel basically government support will provide you if you have incubation. So
fine, Yuvaresh. Coming to Surender, so Techigen. So how is personal branding important for the student entrepreneurs?
That's actually my personal favorite. So personal branding is who you are and how you represent yourself, that people know and remember you. Whether you like it or not, you will be judged by the people the moment you meet with them. It's either you build your personal brand or allow others to do it for you. The process of branding yourself takes you on a journey of self-discovery, where you will get to know about who you are and what your purpose is. You can decide how you want to demonstrate who you are and what you do. Most importantly, you know why you do what you do. So when you're building a business around an area of expertise, the concept of building a personal brand probably comes naturally to you. So when you are the face of your business, building a personal brand makes total sense. So your brand is what separates you from your competitors. So helping to form a long-lasting impression in the mind of your audience and your customers. So without a compelling personal brand that attracts your target audience, you might find yourself struggling as a business to be sustainable in the market. But even if you're building a company that has own brand, building a personal brand still has its benefits. For example, see Elon Musk has more followers than SpaceX and Tesla combined. So most people are more interested in following other people than they follow in more specific companies. Therefore, building an audience for your personal brand can actually increase your exposure for your company. So your personal brand is the way how you represent yourself and how you are perceived by others. It's a unique combination of skills and experience and personally that you want to want the world to see you. It is a telling of a story and how it reflects your conduct, behavior, spoken and unspoken words, and attitude. So the most people approach their personal branding backwards. They think about who want to connect with, and then try to create an image around it so that they can resonate with them. Your personal brand should be authentic and highlight your best qualities you have so that you can find an audience that match your unique talent. So in a nutshell, personal branding is what people tell about you when you're not around. So for branding help Techizent to be the top startup in a college ecosystem in India.
Okay. So what about what is your forecast in upscaling your business? For example, in terms of how many years you require to enhance your Techizent, and in terms of what are the plans you're going to upscale that Techizent, and also we can say how you're going to manage your time management, how you're going to manage your family commitments. Like maybe some of the families won't allow the students to start a career as a startup. So in terms of maybe they will force you to join in a company as an employee. What are the limits they're given to you, or maybe within a year or 2 years like that? So what are the plans and the time management, and we can say a lot of things are there. So what is your sustainable plan also to sustain your business?
So I'll tell that time management is what separates successful entrepreneurs to normal entrepreneurs. So I'll tell you 5 techniques which I use normally in my daily life. The first one is I do calendaring. So every important task goes into the calendar, not just meetings. This way you're really forced to think about the details you work on and often get overlooked when adding to to-do list. So there are things like how long will the task take, and who will be involved in the task, and how it fits in the schedule, can add into calendar. And the second thing is that creating tasks and prioritizing around them. Now the most important time-saving technique is decompose the project into number of tasks, and can possibly break those tasks into subtasks. Now assign these tasks into team members. So this practice leaves no room for any confusions regarding their work each employee will be doing in a company. So that it helps the project to be completed on time. And the next step is that you have to prioritize these tasks. Not every task requires equal importance, and that's where Eisenhower matrix comes into play. So before getting started into Eisenhower matrix, you must understand the difference between an urgent task and important task. So urgent tasks are the ones that you feel you must react to immediately, like emails, phone calls, meetings, etc. And important tasks, on the other hand, are the ones that contribute to your long-term goals and things you really want to do in your life. So important tasks are the ones a part of your business or a life mission. So the third thing I use is that you have to have SMART goals. SMART stands for specific. You must have specific, clearly defined goals. And M for measurable. There must be a way to measure and track your progress as time goes. And A stands for achievable. The goal can be met with available resource or not. You must check and verify it. And R stands for relevant. It must fit in a bigger picture, and you must know why you want to achieve something. And at last, T stands for time bound. You must have a clear deadline for when your goal is going to be completed. So most people don't set goals, and only around 10% of people have written goals. That means it takes time, effort, with real reflection and thinking to write some meaningful goals in your life. So the fourth I use is the Kanban board. So Kanban is a Japanese word meaning a billboard or signboard. The main idea of Kanban board is to have a visual board that keeps track on your progress on your goals. So you should draw several columns on the whiteboard. So visualize each columns. So the columns on the backboard are usually to do, in progress, and done. So then you need sticky notes. So every sticky note represents a task that needs to be completed, and you simply write the name of the task that needs to be completed. You can use different colors of sticky notes for different types of tasks. And after you have a big board and sticky notes with task, you simply stick it on the note and one of the columns, depending on the phase on the task it is. So the last one is I use Pomodoro technique. So the idea of Pomodoro is very simple. You should break down your daily work and commitments and complete it in intervals separated by short breaks. You work for 25 minutes straight, it's called one Pomodoro, and then take 3 to 5 minutes break. So after 4 Pomodoro, you should take a longer break of 30 minutes. So that's it.
Yeah, so great thing. So if you can say in one word, whether any strategy is required to sustain the startup, how can you say in one word how to sustain a startup?
So in one word, I would say listen to your customers. That's what most startups are not doing. So you must listen to your customers. Yeah, I got it.
Fine. So coming to Darshini, how women startups they are creating any impact in the society, or like they are creating any inspiration to others to become an self-dependent in the current ecosystem.
Women entrepreneurship is definitely being an inspiration to all the women of rural and urban areas. For the past 5 years, the total women contributed 10% to the entrepreneurship program, and it has been predicted that it will be becoming 20% in the next 5 years. And women are creating more participation in the market. Women entrepreneurship can create more participation in the market. It can break the gender gap. It can break the perception that entrepreneurship is only for male entrepreneurs. It is a driving force to rise Indian economy. It can create jobs for all the women. It can be safe and exploiting all youth power.
Okay. So research and development, if you take research and development, there are a lot of research and developments are available. So if you see from some of them are into journals, some of them are still in the publication stage, some of them not yet get commercialized. So whether all the R&D projects are obtaining feasible, what kind of supports are required either from government or private institutions. So what are the things to be overcome to support the R&D into commercialization?
R&D into commercialization in this process. Advertisement is the main drawback, main hindrance for the entrepreneurs. Let's say Bharat Biotech's Covaxin. Initially, we got a lot of oppositions like it will be toxic, it will not be safe for humans. But breaking all those opposition, the product has been launched now. And even the incubation centers in an academic institution is not possible because no lab facilities are provided. Research and development requires huge instruments and a lot of other supplements that will not be provided by academic institutions. The only thing that can be done is academic institutions must have some tie-up with the industrial sector and provide some internship often to the students. To expose the students to industry, so that industry will not be a new environment when they're going for work or they are completing their graduation. And thinking in an industrialist point of view can solve various problems, and they can create their own startup with their own ideas. It can seed the idea of creating a startup when we go and get some exposure to industries. So practical application, practical knowledge is also important in research and development. So academic institutions must become more forward to and have some tie-up with industrial sectors to provide industry-related exposure to students.
Okay, fine. Now, according to the government, if you see in the current scenario, they are initiating some of the grants and other things. So from your point of view, you are into R&D, so you have some innovation towards controlling COVID and other comparative diseases. So what kind of things still you are lagging behind to convert your research into development?
Still, I'm in the progress of graduation, so I'll have to learn a lot. And research and development is all about learning process. So I have to learn and COVID is a new form of virus. So a lot of sequences has not even yet been made. So the lack of information initially is the problem, and I have to update myself while doing the process.
Fine, great. So with Arish, is the right time or is the best time to start a student? If you're a student, right, you already started your career as an entrepreneur. So is the right time to choose the entrepreneurship? That is one question. And the other thing, so apart from that, so what are the impact during this pandemic? So how it affects the student career growth? So you guys are if you take your classmates or your friends, so you still under the online sessions, you're not at all having any offline in terms of practical also. So what are the things what kind of impact which affects their career growth?
So talking about students' career growth, that can be segmented into two types. One is growth in academic side, and the second one is growth through your improving your skills and knowledge. So talking about academic side, as we can see, see clearly that most of us we don't attend our online classes in attentive manner. We just open it, and attendance is automatically taken by any of the medium. So it has become only for attendance the classes are being conducted. So which ultimately leads us to we have lot of time during the day which we can spend effectively to improve our skills and knowledge. So you can improve your skills like through online courses, through Udemy, and many other sites, or you can improve your knowledge if you're wanting to become an entrepreneur. This is the best time you can do it because of availability of time. You can attend webinars like this or attend competitions, more seminars where you will be able to you can set a ecosystem for yourself where you can consult good entrepreneurs. You can get in touch with people who are already in that level. And in this digital era, yeah, approaching any person has become very easy. You can also approach any CEO or the founder of any company through LinkedIn. Every person is available in LinkedIn. So contact and now one another important thing that an entrepreneur must be having is the power of networking. So when talking about networking, it becomes easy in the current situation as well. So if you are wanting to start your entrepreneur journey, this would be the best time to do so with effect of having time and effect of your digital evolution of the world.
Okay, fine. So coming to Yuresh. Yuresh, so what are the challenges and opportunities in your startup as a student?
So let me start with the opportunities. So there is a huge space for any market at the moment there in the market. So if all it takes is just one creative idea, and investors can be easily seeked. So opportunities are just totally, it's so stagnant out there. So if you need something, unless if you come with an idea, it's enough. You can, and that idea should be stable in both in terms of market and the demand. If it reaches a demand market, then next 5 to 6 years, nobody's going to stop you from your growth. But at the same moment, if that idea is not stable enough, nobody's going to approach you either. So all it takes is just one creative idea in that space of demand, and it should be if it stabilizes the market, then then there's no stopping you. You can reach even the one of the top. It's just a matter of time. In 2 to 3 years, you can be the next unicorn startup in India. So nobody's going to stop you in that case. So opportunities there is huge. It just needs your one step ahead of thinking, and if you can think, if you can bring that thinking in your reality, then as I told you, you can be anywhere you can reach any level at this moment. And age is just a factor or a number. Nothing is going to stop you from doing that. So if I come back to challenges, then there are huge challenges out there also. So one of the main challenges I feel there is mindset. So in my personal life, I have gone into some particular very risky challenges at the moment. So when I was in the starting stage of my startup, all I knew was just about my own creative product. I knew my product. I believed in my idea. I believed in my idea that it can be successful in the market. In 4 to 5 years, it can turn out to be a huge hit. So that was the only thing I had. But my mindset was strong at that moment. When I approached investors for funding, my marketing skills somewhat lagging area. So I didn't have a mindset to learn before I approached an investor. So one of the main thing I feel is your mindset should be strong enough to stabilize any loss or profits. Because while getting into business, as I told you earlier, there are so many pros and cons. You can also be as successful as Elon Musk, but you can at most you can go bankrupt also. It can happen in a small cycle. In a year you can achieve so much, and the next year you can be so down. So mindset is one of the basic thing you have to it will challenge yourself. Yourself will be challenge yourself. So you should be ready with yourself in terms of mindset. And one of the basic I feel that I follow is never give up. If you have a great idea, never give up on it. You can face so many challenges, so many things can stop you from moving forward. But you have to have yourself a challenge that I should not know whatever people say. You should not should neglect the whole thing. So these are the two things. But basically, I feel in challenge. You have to challenge yourself to better come everything as a businessman. So if that's a term you think of as a businessman, as a startup, as an entrepreneur, creative setup is a basic thing here. So all makes a perfect entrepreneur at the end of the day. So as even it encourages a startup to be one of the leading startups in India.
Fine. So how does the incubation center, like you are already incubated with incubation center, like from your point of view, how does the incubation center creates an enhanced platform for the first time student entrepreneurs?
Incubation center it's a learning platform for business. To be honest, you don't need to go into business management to learn these things and all. It's like you have an idea, you want to develop it, you can come to incubation center. So basically, when you have come to incubation center, you don't have an idea. You just have one creative idea. So like you don't have many things at the moment. So you come, like you believe in your idea, you come, you look for help. Incubation center totally changes you. You get to know so many different things after joining incubation. So while I came into the incubation center here, I was strong in my idea. I knew a little bit of investment things and a little bit of knowledge about market also. So while joining incubation, I learned so much of market. I never knew the market was so open. So these things nobody's going to teach you at the end of the day. Only incubation center. Though if you go to business management school for learning business and MBA skills, these are things you have to learn in a practical way. So incubation center is the best part of this. So especially as a first time student entrepreneur, incubation develops you as not just as a company, as a human also. So how to be a CEO of yourself. So how can you challenge others? How can you challenge this life? How can you challenge different things, different opportunities? How can you challenge different companies' opportunity? How can you challenge an investor? Because obviously he's believing in you, in your idea. So how can you face that? So your exiting plan. So in terms of trouble, how can you exit sudden with an idea? So these are the things which can be only taught practical, which can be taught only in depth, and this can be learned only via incubation centers. So.
Fine. So like I think we come to conclusion. I think it's more than nearly 2.5 hours. Right, everyone have their views and then insights and then success journeys and success stories and then hurdles. So a lot of things has been shared within 15 minutes. Before that, I just want to put some points what he said that the CITBA of Chennai Institute of Technology Business Incubation Forum. So we started by last year, and then which is a Section 8 company, not for profit organization. We as an initiative, so we can point out some examples. Whoever we brought and whoever we brought out of the box. So they are sitting in front of us. So these 4 academic out of box, we can say that everyone is unique. Everyone want to be differentiated if you want to sustain in the market. If you take Darshini, so she taken R&D into biotech and then still under progress. And then if you take Arish, he came for he came for some other idea, then he converted into e-commerce. And then after that, he was still from initial, he was into 3D printing and then mechanical engineering. If you take Surender Techigen, so you want to give some hopeful platform for the students. If you come to Techigen, you never ever miss anything. You can get everything. It's like what we can say for incubation center. It's a one-stop center for all your needs. So a one-stop center for all the student needs. You take example of Techigen. So everyone is like they come out of the box, like everyone have the passion. If you take a men entrepreneur or if you take a woman entrepreneur, we brought out the example. And the other thing, so it's really the sad thing that still we want to convey something to the student communities. Still, most of the people are not attending the webinars, and we can't say that how long this situation will be going to get prolonged. But anyway, if due to during this current webinar, if we are getting one productivity also, it's a success for our incubation center. It's a success for all the student startup or whoever viewed their expression about their journeys. It's not easy to start a startup also, and it's not difficult to start a startup also. So everywhere there is a pros and cons is there. If you come with ideas, so like that's why we are asking everyone to bring some innovation or some to bring ideas. Maybe you don't know that you have some ideas in your mind, in your brain. So like it's surrounding you only. So not like it's something which is available in the ready-made market. So like how you're going to sustain? That's why I raised some questions from my side. These are the things that are available in the market. That so like there are problem statements. A lot of things are available in the market. So against the problem statement, there are opportunities are there. So opportunities never knock twice. So if you take mechanical engineering, you were saying that 3D printing and other opportunities are there. If you take agriculture, which is a booming market, that there are a lot of post-harvest engineering scopes are there. So after harvest, which we call as a post-harvest process. If you take from post-harvest, after going to warehouse management, after going to processing area, there is a grinding. So many things are there. If you take value addition, so if you want to be a engineer, if you into mechanical, like you can fabricate an equipment. So you can analyze the problem statement. If you sit with a farmer or if you see the farming background, so what are the things they are facing daily in the market? So if you take a value addition, so which is moving in nowadays. So for what we are running in the society, so the one thing is everyone want to be settled in a short manner, like, but we should have a long focus. At the same time, everyone is running back in the money, but at the same time, we need a job satisfaction. So at the same time, we want to be a self-dependent, that no one is thinking about that. Only 15 to 20% of students only thinking. So from where the entrepreneurs has been created, entrepreneur has been developed after student only, after graduation only. So if they think that if they don't want to be a first time entrepreneur, first generation entrepreneur, no one will survive. Like no one can create a job for other people. So that is a scenario. That's why we want everyone to come out of the box. So like we can put so many example. If you take a mechanical engineering, if you take apart from that the 3D printing. So 3D printing, lot of scopes are there. So apart from that, if you take life science, the biotech or biomedical, so if you go for a disabled person, so what kind of problems you can see in front of your eyes that they're having difficulties when they're going for washrooms, when they're going for a bed rest. So many things you can fabricate it. So you can get the, you can see the, so what Surendra said, for any business, you need to go for a market research. So for any idea, you can go for a market survey. So what are the problem statements? How I can create opportunities in that? So opportunity lies everywhere. So which you need a common sense to spot it. That's a small thing. So if you take e-commerce, right? Last 1 year, there is a pandemic. So how we got the producers, how the grocery markets got high competitive, like so many e-commerce people, e-commerce players are coming out. That's why I was asking Harish how they treat the newcomers in the market. If you compare with big players, like if you take Amazon, Flipkart, but daily there are a lot of e-commerce players are coming. But what I'm saying, you are dependent on some MNC companies. If you start by Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry. Technical issues. So like this will come ever. There are a lot of adults will be there if you want to put something to the society or something to the community. So we have to come across. So these are the example, live example. So like technical issues will come, network issues will come. So how we are going to come across from this kind of barriers? So like I really thank for everyone, the four staff, and all the best for the future endeavors. So apart from that, before closing, there are some questions which we got in the chat box. Once again, let me raise it. I'm not getting visible. Surendra, are you getting that chat box?
Yes, sir. I'll read it for you.
Yeah, just anyone can answer that question also. Just read it from your side.
There's a question from Vansana Galda.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I see that you all made your way as an entrepreneur into the market, being students. Did you, each of you also had any thought or corporate experience as an intern or any other?
So I think Yuresh, you can answer this one.
Yes, sir. So basically, me before getting into this field of 3D printing, I had experience. My team had experience in an industry. We went to I went to two industries. One in Bangalore, because in India there are only 5 filament manufacturing companies basically, which are of 200 to 300 crore annual revenue companies. So we approached them. We got internship via them. So we were working there for a month, so we came to know some process, how they did, what are their demands, how they are reselling this in the market, how they are processing the market. So I feel if you're going into core in terms of core field, you need some industrial experience, especially this corporate experience. Otherwise, if you are getting into with a basic idea without core knowledge, I feel you don't need that experience. You just have to with your idea, just have to approach an incubation center. But if you are going to feel like in a core way, you need obviously you need a corporate help or industrial help. So it's better to go for an internship somewhere for a month or two, so to get an experience.
Okay, fine. I think next question for Surendra and Yuresh, who is your inspiration to your startup?
So actually, I don't have an inspiration for startup. So what I feel inspired is that to my myself 10 years later. So that is what I feel and inspired. So I don't inspire anyone from outside.
Okay, fine. So maybe people will think that people who are here that they don't have commitments and also they are wealth, and then so they don't have the pressure to be dependent on employment. So that's why they started. So it's not a good explanation or justification, I can say from my side. So like everyone rising from bottom, if see they don't want to depend on others, that's why they want to be self-dependent. Everyone have the commitments, everyone is running behind something, for the family commitments, for the loan commitments, so many things are there. So that doesn't make sense that if you have commitments you don't want to go for a startup. See, like that's why I was asking 2-3 questions for everyone, like how you are managing your risk factor, risk investment, and how you are going to sustain your business. So then how the academic education, it's a good right time to start the entrepreneurship, whether having any impact for the career growth. See, I told 2 to 3 times that you will earn more than that what you are getting in the employment. That is second criteria. That is not at all priority. See, you will get a job satisfaction. So what at the last, what you will feel job satisfaction. See, don't want to be a job seeker, be a job provider. That's why they are thinking in their mind. And investment doesn't matter. See, like you need to be on 2 things, like skills, then capability. So that is the same only. So what kind of capability do you having? And the other thing, what kind of skills? If you are technical and if you're non-technical, how you are going to improvise it if you don't have the skills? So how you are going to learn it? So from where, from whom? We can say a lot of things. That's why we are bringing examples. So you can tie up with those people. So Arish told the same thing, like the market linkage and networking. So that is the main thing you needed. For example, if you want to attend the session, how come you know that this session is going on? That is a networking. If you are in Techigen committee, you will come to know that these are events going on. These are the events, they schedule it for the current month, for the current next month. So things are there. So like if you go for R&D, how you can know that this journal has been published, this architect has been published, that these are already got patent. So you have to keep with some networking. So what you have said, that business incubation having a tie-up with industries and companies. So like I request some of the other academic institutions to come forward, like how you can improvise them in terms of providing practical exposure. So we, Chennai Institute of Technology, so we already we created most of the placement into MNCs and other equivalent companies. Apart from that, we want to create more entrepreneurs as the vision of the management, and also from our side, incubation center has been started for the same scenario. And only we are already targeting for 75 plus startups in the financial year. So we are on the pipeline, but number doesn't matter. So everyone want to be sustained. So that also priority given to student startups. We are open to all, but at the same thing, we want to create the sustainable business for the student startups, and also they want to be example and they want to be create more employments. Like if you create 75 plus startups, you can get minimum twice or thrice of that startup criteria. So that is our vision, and already we want to create ecosystem. So initially I talk about that scope in mechanical industry towards agri sectors, and nowadays there are a lot of scope in EV. That's why we are asking everyone to come and explore your skills in electric vehicle sector. So everyone is talking about that we have a problems in the petrol prices, we can't bear it. So it doesn't justify that. It's not a good thing to blame on the governments. Okay, they are increasing the prices. So what we have to do, we have to focus on the alternative solutions. That is the EV. So like students having from, I think who are maybe attending, just pass the message to others. A lot of skills in retrofitting the normal vehicle into EV. So come and approach us. We will give you a platform to tie up with the companies. So create a collaboration, and then you can launch the vehicle so into design, starts from design until to completion. So we will give you a platform. So that's why we nurture everyone to come forward, and also we invite everyone to come with different kind of innovation to sustain in the market. So like before conclusion, I again point out one question, statement, that everyone have commitments, everyone have the own some ambitions or some goals, but you should have passion what you are doing. If you don't have passion, you can't succeed in your business. So that is the main thing. And also through incubation centers, we are giving really hands-on sessions and then workshops and training, which is purely practical exposure. So like it's not at all easy in conducting these kind of things, but we are ready to conduct. But at the same time, we want the response from the student community ecosystem and from other people also. So if you are really ready to research, we are ready to provide you all kind of supports from our side. We already said it's a not-for-profit organization. We want to create the ecosystem which would be a sustainable startup ecosystem by the CITBF. Coming to conclusion, I think 2-3 questions are there. From Rachna Galda, how and where would each of you like to see your startups post-pandemic? So anyone can answer. How and where would each of you like to see your startups post-pandemic?
So talking about mine, we are basically an e-commerce segment where we are trying to reach out to people who are in need of. We are currently focusing on old age people who are in need of their for the daily expenses. So we'll try to expand our services for more people who are in need, and in the future we'll also expand it to the common public sector once the pandemic is over.
Right. Then another question to all: to do a startup, what kind of support would someone be expecting, and how would they really help you in reaching a greater standards? Anyone can answer. So I will repeat the question. to do a startup, what kind of support would someone be expecting, and how would they really help you in reaching a great standards?
I would like to answer this as well.
Yeah.
So, as we discussed earlier, also networking is the base of a start. I personally feel networking is the base of a startup, because once you are in a ecosystem where you are along with people who are already in that level, rest all will fall in place. Like if you're in need of funding or something, once your idea is good, you're in your system. If you just tell a word, you'll automatically get people to invest in your idea. So it is important that you network properly and keep a good people around you, so that all the other things wouldn't be a much of burden for your plan.
Okay, fine. I think the questions has been completed. So we don't have questions. A few seconds once again. Yeah. So I think really thankful for the questions. So we want to be interactive. So that's why from academic also we are saying that we want to be innovative. Then only really they are attending the sessions. So like I understand from the point of student community that a lot of sessions are going on through online, but it's up to you. So we really conducting based on the business empowerment, which is a startup and entrepreneurship improvising ecosystem from our side. At the same time, you have to come out of the box if you want to achieve something in your career. So now there is a lot of opportunities are available. You can reach us at any time. We are providing the platform 24/7, and also we are giving rental free incubation space for the startups. And also apart from that, everyone, they have come across a lot of hurdles and challenges with opportunities, and also answered my questions in related to how come across their journeys. And apart from that, fundings, in terms of fundings, grants are available. We have tie-up with government agencies, state government agencies and central government. If you have innovation, we can write up in the proposal. And apart from that, we have things which we can say that the private investors also available. So upon coming to R&D part, we have industrial tie-up and institutional tie-up. So like lot of things are going to come up that we have 2-3 collaborations are in the upcoming weeks, which we are going to introduce game-based entrepreneurship development programs, so that now the scenario is for gamification. So like a lot of things are there. So we are ready to tie up with that one. At the same time, we need output, means we want more students or startups who are individual have to come forward, and we have to approach us, and they have to get the solution to create more employments for the open market. So that is the thing. I really thank for all the startups being here, and it's a great thing that we have been spent for more than 1.5 hours and discussing about the pros and cons, challenges, opportunities, and how they have to come forward. So I really thank for your time, and we'll meet you in another session. So like I think we are at the end, so we can wind up. And I really thank for the participation audience also. We'll meet you in another session. So good, and all the best for your future endeavors. So we'll see you in another session. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.